All right, we are diving deep today, folks, and you know what we're diving into. Molars.
Molars, yes. Not the most glamorous teeth, I'll admit, but boy, they're more interesting than people think.
They are. They really are. And I know a lot of you had questions based on, well, some excerpts that we shared. So we're going to be talking all about their function, the different types of molars, and that eruption timeline, because that can be a wild ride.
Oh, it really can. And that's actually a great point to start with. You know, those timelines, they're really more like guidelines. But we'll get into that.
We will, but first, let's back up for a second. So we all know molars, they're those flat teeth in the back of our mouths. But what is it that makes them so important?
Okay, so think about it this way. Your front teeth, they're like a nice pair of scissors, right? They're meant for biting, paring. Molars, no, they are the heavy-duty grinders. They crush, they break down food, and we're talking tough foods to get them into those nice, small, digestible pieces.
So it's really all about that grinding action, huh?
It is, and what's interesting is that grinding action, it's not just for, like, chomp it on a carrot. It's also for softer things, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, they are truly the unsung heroes. Your molars are working even when you don't realize it, making sure everything is, properly processed. And get this is where I think it gets really cool. You've already had 2 sets of molars in your life.
Wait, 2. Hold on. I've only have like baby teeth and then my adult teeth.
Exactly. But those baby teeth, some of those were molars, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're called your primary molars, and you get those, around your first birthday or so.
Well,
yeah, and they're smaller, obviously, and their job is really to get you through those early years, right? You're eating softer foods.
right.
But, like everything else, we grow up, our jaw grows, our diet changes,
Yeah.
and that's when those baby molars, well, they make way for the big leagues, the permanent adult molars.
Okay, so it's like a relay race. The baby molars, they're in the lead, but then they pass the baton to the adult set.
Exactly.
That is so cool. And speaking of adult molars, I got to ask, the 6-year molars, because I remember those being kind of a big deal, what makes those so special?
The 6-year molars, they're your first permanent molars, and they are a major milestone. They erupt around 6 years old, hence the name. But here's the thing. They often come in before your front adult teeth even erupt.
Right.
So think about that. How important are those molars?
Right.
Your diet is changing. You need that grinding power.
Wow. And they stick with you, like, forever, right?
Yeah. They're in it for the long haul.
That's incredible. Even in some of the stuff that we were looking at, it talked about how sealants are really important for those 6-year molars specifically. Is there a reason why?
Oh, absolutely. Those 6-year molars, they're with you for your whole life. So protecting them from the get-go, that's key. Think about it. They've got a larger surface area than your other teeth.
Right.
More grooves, more fissures. And what does that mean? More places for cavities to form. Sealants, they're like a little shield. They fill in those vulnerable areas and prevent, well, decay.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, we can't forget about the other molars, right? Like those 12-year molars. They come in, what, around 12?
You got your second set of permanent molars.
Yeah.
And just like their 6-year-old siblings, those 12-year molars are crucial for grinding, and they need the same love and care to stay healthy.
Gotcha. All right, so last but definitely not least, we've got to address the elephant, or should I say the molar in the room, wisdom teeth.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Wisdom teeth, the third molars. And these guys, total wild cards. Now, they tend to show up, if they decide to show up at all, much later than the others. We're talking like 17 to 23 years old.
Yeah, those are the ones that, you either get them or you don't.
Right. It's that late arrival, or in some cases, no arrival at all, that makes them so intriguing.
It's true, and a little bit scary, if you ask me. But why is it that sometimes they appear and sometimes they don't? Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some researchers think that wisdom teeth are basically leftovers from our ancestors. Back in the day when humans had larger jaws, they ate tougher foods.
I see. Makes sense.
But over time, as we evolved, our jaws, they got smaller. And often, there's just not enough room for wisdom teeth.
Oh, so they're like an evolutionary holdover.
Exactly. But because of that lack of space, well, that's when you get crowding, impaction, and sometimes, the dentist has to step in and help things along.
Wow. Who knew wisdom teeth had such a story? It really does sound like, going to the dentist, keeping up with those regular checkups, it's so important, especially once those molars start, like, showing their little faces.
100%. And, consistent dental care, it's important at every age. But those early years, when you've got those permanent molars coming in, it's crucial.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess to wrap things up here, what have we learned about molars? Well, We've learned they are the powerhouses of the mouth. They are essential for digesting all sorts of food. And, oh, we've got 2 sets. The baby molars, they're like the opening act. And then the permanent set, they are the headliners. They are here to stay.
Well said, well said.
And those 6-year molars, watch out for those guys. They are the VIPs of the mouth. They need all the protection, all the love that you can give them.
They really do. And, it makes you think, our diets, they're always evolving. What does that mean for the future of molars?
That is a great question.
Right. Will they keep adapting?
Right.
Will we see their roles change even more? Who knows?
Now, that's something to chew on. Thank you all so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of molars. It's been a molarific time. Until next time, stay curious and remember to brush those chompers.